Hey everybody, I'm Brent, and you're watching day 2 of my cave diver training series. We're diving in the Devil's Spring system at the Ginnie Springs Resort in Florida, and we're entering through what's called the Devil's Eye. The first order of business is making our primary tie-off to ensure we have a continuous line back out of the cave. If you're a cave diver, you'll notice I made a few mistakes on that, but no worries, my instructor Martin reviews all of that with me afterwards, and on the next dive it's definitely cleaned up. He also helps me out locating good placements on where to run the line. This is actually my first dive here, and for those that don't know, this is a first magnitude spring pumping out 80 million gallons of water a day. So because of all that flow coming out, it makes for a brutal endeavor trying to get inside, especially for first timers like me. And managing the buoyancy with the rebreather, dry suit, handling the reel with the flow, definitely makes for a less than graceful first entrance, but that's okay, it's my first day and I'll improve as the days go on. Here I'm tying into the gold line, which is a permanently installed line we can follow through a lot of the cave. By the way, I've added a map to that left side with an icon that tracks our position throughout the dive, and at the top there's our current depth along with how far we are from where we've made that primary tie-off. Let me know in the comments if you think that information is helpful. Alright, making our way down to the first section, it almost feels like we're going down stone steps. And I'm sorry about the camera view, my GoPro is actually pointing down quite a bit for the first few minutes of the dive. That ends up working pretty well in our favor because it gives you a better perspective of the flow and what it takes to find things to hold on to and pull your way through it. And by the way, doing that is called the pull and glide technique, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're just using your hands and arms to gently pull and glide through the flow. This technique is used by cave divers in high water flow because those muscles are smaller and produce less CO2 than your legs do. CO2 is a big concern for divers. It can cause your body to hyperventilate and essentially overbreathe your equipment in addition to a host of other physiological problems. And really quick, look at all the particles just flying by the camera right here, and you can see them really well around my light. That's how fast the water's moving. I'm not gonna lie, it was kicking my butt getting in here. Luckily, Martin was ahead of me to show me where to kind of grab onto, but there were a lot of loose rocks in this section. And after that, we make it into a room called the gallery. And where you pull and glide in here is totally different. It's actually high up onto the wall. Martin stops to remind me not to fin through this area and shows me where to hang on to pull and glide more efficiently. So while we're pulling our way through the ballroom, I'll quickly explain what's on today's training agenda. We're going over a bunch of small skills, but the biggest part is completing what's called a circuit. A circuit is basically a circle journey inside of a cave, and if you look at the top of the map there, that's the circle we're going to complete. Now in basic terms, planning a circuit simply means you're ensuring you have enough breathing gas to complete it. If you can do the entire circuit within 1/3 of your gas supply, then great. Otherwise, the circuit has to be done in segments. Since we're on rebreathers and doing this circuit is not a problem, this is more of an exercise to make sure I understand what a circuit is, how to set it up, and how to dive it. Okay, now we're entering what are called the lips. The flow picks up in this section, or at least it feels like it, so you'll get a good view of me pulling and gliding, or trying, to get through here. In day 3's video, you'll see this section, but with the camera facing forwards, you get a better view of what the overall area looks like. And this cool little passage right here is called the keyhole. I turned my video light on to get a better view, but I actually don't leave it on for the majority of the dive. And that's because in training, I want to be able to see the light signals much more clearly. I don't want to miss out on someone giving me an attention signal or whatnot, and I really want to be able to see what the instructor is telling me, and also I don't want to be blinding people every time I look at them. If this dive was strictly for sightseeing, I'd probably leave it on the whole time. After we make our way through the keyhole, we're headed into an area that I think is called the junction room. We'll hang a left here and keep following the main line, and to me this is where the dive really starts. The reason why is because everything up until that point, the flow is just crazy hard to get through. But after this turn, I feel like it really starts to slow down and I can relax and start to enjoy the dive a lot more. Like right here, we're just cruising. It's really not too bad at all. The flow is much slower. Here it does pick up a little bit more and you can see Martin pulling and gliding, but it's so much less than the beginning of the dive. And it's super helpful having him in front so I can just sort of follow where he grabs onto. Oh, on the left here is a jump that goes to an area called Hill 400, and we're not going to take it on this dive, but I will show you a quick sneak peek of the map because we do take that on a future dive. But for now, we're going to bypass that and head to the first jump. Funny enough, right as we get there, there's a team trying to exit, and just FYI, exiting teams always get the right of way. It's good etiquette to move to the side, lower the brightness of your light, and let them pass with ease. Once they pass, Martin will light up where he wants me to tie that jump in, and come to think of it, this was the first jump I've ever made. All my previous cave dives were at the intro level where you have to stay on the main line. Martin did an awesome job of making sure I didn't do anything wrong here, and even though the hand holding fades progressively with each dive, it was really nice to have that first one with some training wheels. Here I'm tying in that jump to the other side of the tunnel, and once I get it tied in, we're going to take off and head towards the first tee. While we're swimming, I gotta say that making these videos is a really good training review session for me to lock in what I've learned. It's forced me to go back mentally and think about the skills we did and where we were in the cave. Alright, we're at that tee now, and Martin's gonna light it up and I'll drop a cookie so we can know the direction that we came from. Once I drop it, we'll take off to the second jump, and it's not a very long swim there. Once we arrive, he'll do the same thing. He'll light it up for me, point out the best place where he wants me to tie in, give me the signal to do that, and then he'll light up where he wants me to tie it in on the other side. And you can see it's not very far, maybe that was like 10 feet or something like that, so it's pretty easy to spot, but it's just nice to have someone helping me out. After I tie that in, we'll swim for a little bit, and then Martin will tell me to slow down and drop a cookie on the line. That's the marker we're using for our circuit, and at that point we'll go ahead and turn around and sort of reverse this dive. So we head back to that jump I just put in, follow it across, head to the tee. There we can see my marker, we turn left, and head back to that very first jump we made, turn left again, swim some more before we pass that hill 400 jump, and eventually make our way back to where we were in the junction room. Here you can see two other teams. Two guys on scooters are exiting, and the other two guys on open circuit are trying to stick to that wall and keep out of the way for him. Eventually they do try to just swim up and over the other exiting diver. I probably wouldn't have done that because I'm still new and wouldn't want to accidentally run into someone or make them upset while they're exiting, but it's just interesting to see that many teams in one space working it out. And lastly, here we are tying in the final jump to go around that circuit from the right side completely. It's basically redoing the whole previous dive, so I'll spare you the footage, but that's what it looks like. I'm really stoked to show you day 3's footage though, because my camera was actually pointing in the right direction for the first half, so you can really see the stuff I was talking about.